welcome to One Drink, a podcast where we talk about one topic for one drink. I'm Matthew.
I'm Ryan.
And we are going back to the 80s again. We're talking about Who's the Boss?
Hey, hey.
Wow.
Tony Danza.
Oh my God.
Who's the boss?
What a great, a show that really, you're like, what? How? Yeah. How did this come about? Like,
it's great.
It threw everyone for a loop, right?
Yeah, right? It's just a male housekeeper. And the funny thing about it is, okay, Tony Danza was on Taxi, as we both know.
Yeah.
Before Who's the Boss, and Taxi ran for like 5 seasons.
That was a good run.
Who's the Boss, a show about a male housekeeper, ran for 8 seasons.
I know, and dude, and like
how much content can you get out of a male housekeeper? You're thinking like maybe a couple episodes.
And we talked about Who's the Boss and Tony Danza a little bit in the Beetlejuice episode. It's just so funny because we were like, how the hell did this start? Like, what? So we got a synopsis like we do on every show.
We'll talk about how it all started.
And it's just so funny if you think about it. Like, you go to pitch this sitcom, and you're like, all right. So a dude and his daughter rolls up in a van.
Yeah.
And is like
a former baseball player. And the van is just like buffed out, like the former name on the side of it.
Back in the 80s, of course, they're like, don't take candy from a stranger.
Oh yeah, it's like a kidnapping van. Totally.
No windows.
It says free candy on the side. Free candy, come out and get it. I got Starburst.
Oh my God. Okay, so synopsis of Who's the Boss. The premise of the American sitcom Who's the Boss is about a widowed former Major League Baseball player who becomes the live-in housekeeper for a divorced advertising executive and her family.
Oh, sold!
Wow.
It's like, what the fuck?
So you pitched that to ABC or NBC, I don't know, it was on...
Yeah, I can't remember.
One of them.
Yeah, right. It was whatever network the Cosby Show was.
Yeah, a major network.
Yeah, right.
And they're like, wow, this is genius.
Yes.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
And it did work out.
And this is a decade before Mrs. Doubtfire.
Oh yeah, dude. I mean,
like a male housekeeper, dressed up, but it's like, it just it blows my mind that this was like greenlit.
Oh yeah, and I'm guilty of watching it.
Oh, I loved it.
But why did we watch it, Ryan? We watched it for a different reason, I believe.
Yeah, there's one main reason.
Yeah, so
definitely Mona. Mona. Hey Mona, I got a boner.
She was so funny, but no, that is not why.
She's the original like cougar, like before Golden Girls.
Dude.
Like she was like,
and it's funny too because like I remember her in Who's the Boss.
Yeah.
But I got Antenna TV.
Yeah.
So I watch Me TV. They play older shows.
Yeah.
She was in a lot of those.
Yeah.
So she shows up in a show, like a random show. I don't even know what the hell they were, but I'm like, oh my God, Mona. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then like, oh my God, again. She's in a different show, but like.
I know she was in like Soap or something like that.
Dude, I don't know, but she She was the original
cougar.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. But that's not the reason.
No. God. Could you imagine if I was like, yes, I love Mona. But no, so we were younger back then.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Alyssa Milano was the same age as us.
Yeah.
She just...
Well, not really.
Was she younger? Or... Either way.
It was like 1984, so I was 5. I think she was maybe like
10.
12, 13.
Yeah. But either way, she was just... She is and always will be my crush.
A sitcom crush.
Forever and always.
Yeah.
And even now, I don't know what she does, but I've watched all her shows. Charmed, watched it. Yep. She had another show. I think she was in one of the teen shows, like I don't even know what it was, but I watched it. If there's a Lifetime movie, I watched it. If there's anything, I watched it just because.
I could see her in a Lifetime movie.
Oh yeah, Alyssa Milano.
She was in like the Wet Hot American Summer like remake or something like that. It was probably like, I don't know, maybe 5-6 years ago.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, she was in that. I
watched
that.
It.
Yeah.
You have
absolutely.
to.
Yeah.
So she was the main reason.
A lot of movies too.
She did. She did Fear.
That was it. Donnie Wahlberg. Or no, Mark Wahlberg.
Yeah, I hated Mark Wahlberg.
Yeah.
Wow.
He was like, "Let me in!" Like, in the door.
I was like, I have to start wearing Calvin Klein underwear and just working out. Because then maybe Alyssa Milano will want to...
Tell your mom. An old SNL bit.
But yeah,
she was super hot in that. I was like, oh my god.
Yeah. So, Who's the Boss? That's why I watched it.
Yeah.
But then,
I also love the antics of Tony Danza. Like I just have a soft spot in my heart for Tony Danza.
Oh, but and then you're thinking at the time, you're like, wow, this dude just showed up and he's the housekeeper.
Yeah.
So
basically, it's I remember I watched the first episode probably like a couple days ago, just to like get a refresher.
Oh yeah, you have to.
And so basically, Tony and Samantha. Tony and Samantha are living in New York City. And Tony's just got to get out of the city because it's not safe. There's a ton of crime.
Ooh.
And Samantha gets into a fight with 3 boys, beats them all up. And Tony's like, okay, the city's just not safe anymore. We got to get out of here. And he gets a new job as a male housekeeper in Connecticut.
Yeah.
So he gets in the van. They get in the van. They drive to Connecticut, and they go to this house in like some suburbs.
Yeah.
And they pretty much.
I think it was like a wanted ad or something, right?
Yeah, Mona posted a wanted ad, and Tony answered it, and obviously Mona's like, "Ooh, this sexy
Look
Italian
at this guy,
the sexy Italian fella."
Yeah, like the rolled sleeve.
Yeah. Oh. So they go to the house and basically Angela, she's upstairs and Jonathan is downstairs. Tony rings the doorbell. Jonathan answers the door and says,
"Hey, who are you?"
Yeah, so I'm the new housekeeper. And he goes back and forth with Angela. Like, she's like, "Well, I don't need,
Right. Because it's a surprise to her.
She's like, well, I don't need a housekeeper or whatever. And he said, Mona already hired me, so like.
Yep.
Yeah.
And of course, he has to live there.
Yeah.
So
that's another weird thing.
A twist, just right. You're like.
Yeah.
This is where the 8 seasons come from, and the build up, and the
Yeah, he has to like show that he's like compatible with like the kids.
Yeah.
And, like get his kid compatible with like Jonathan.
But could you imagine though? Okay, so we're in the 80s, and I mean, I don't know if it was normal back then. I mean, sleepovers and all that, I get it, but
yeah.
To just have like you open the door, you're like, so you're the housekeeper, you're gonna live with us.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'd be like, bro, I'm doing my own chores. I'm doing my own shit.
Yeah.
So,
and what's the safe word?
Yeah, seriously. Thanks, Tony, but no, it ain't happening.
Not happening.
And then he's just, I'm a boxer.
That's what. Yeah, he was a former baseball player.
Yeah, baseball player
too.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, I remember the opening credits would show him sliding into home base.
I know, dude.
And he's out. He's totally out. Like
he could have made him safe. I mean, come on. Let's make the dude.
just rubbing it in, making him a loser male housekeeper.
You're hired.
So yeah, that's basically how it all started and the premise of the whole thing.
Yeah.
It was so funny how like Angela, like probably within like a day or two, just accepted him in.
Yeah,
like,
and then you can kind of you see where it's gonna go. You know, everyone's waiting for the build up. You know, do they like each other? Do they not? You know.
Yeah, that's the thing with like a lot of those '80s sitcoms. Like it was called the Will They Won't They.
Yeah, and
you would get hints of it, and they would tease it,
and then just.
Yeah,
I mean, dude, at 8 years.
Yeah,
and for a sitcom in the '80s. That is long.
That's a super long time.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you know, it's just unheard of.
Yeah,
I mean, we've done several shows on 80 shows.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But like Elf, what was that? That lasted, I think, 5 or 6 years.
Yeah, I want to say 6.
Yeah, and even about Elf.
It's so
and we all watched it, and they got great ratings, and it's like, what the?
Yeah, that was kind of like the basis for like a sitcom. Like lifespan is like 5-6 years now. Mm-hmm. I mean, if it's a good one, other ones are like 2-3. It's like
even 1 year, and then you're just like, do you remember what was that? What the hell? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, Who's the Boss? Great. Alyssa Milano. Man, man. And then, you know, the more the show went on, of course, the older she got, the more hotter she got.
Yeah.
And, you know, that's what tuned me in.
Yeah. And Samantha, there was 1,500 other actresses auditioned to be Samantha.
See?
It's insane.
Dude, and we did...
1 out of 1,500.
And then we did the Beetlejuice show, and she almost did the Beetlejuice.
Yeah, she tried out, she auditioned to be Lydia. Yeah.
God.
So this was 1984. It was created by Blake Hunter and Martin Cohen. Cohen was fresh off of his creation of Silver Spoons.
See, another show that lasted a long time.
I know. These 80s shows, they just kept...
What was that, dude?
It's because primetime and like, you know, these 80s sitcoms were huge at the time.
Silver Spoons.
You'd eat your dinner watching sitcoms.
Yep.
You don't have that these days.
No, it's the attention span is... If you have a show, a sitcom on TV nowadays, it has to be everything.
It has to be, every episode has to be released at once, like on Netflix.
Yeah, because...
It's like, here you go, here's one season, 12 episodes worth, bam.
And it has to be so good because, like, people are just into so many different things.
Yeah. And you're looking at your phone while you're watching.
Always,
like trying to keep people's attention.
It's tough.
In the 80s, these shows just kept your attention.
Because dude, you didn't have a phone to distract you.
No.
You didn't have nothing to distract you.
No, you couldn't, there was nothing else in the way.
So, speaking of Moner.
Moner.
She's my favorite. Mona was originally supposed to be Angela's older sister.
Yeah, that's right.
So, I mean, I'm glad they went with the mother route.
Yeah, me too.
Because the older sister, if you know the show...
Why are you still living there?
It wouldn't have made sense. You know what I mean? It would have not made sense.
Yeah. And I think Mona was like... She was cast to be around like 55 years old at the time.
Yeah. And dude, even...
Or she was 55 like in real life. So it was like... I don't know.
Yeah.
It just wasn't close enough to Angela.
And she was in some movies.
Yeah.
A couple of them. I don't know which they were. But she was in a lot of shows. So she was kind of like a... She was a big actor.
Yeah.
But this show put all of them on a worldwide thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like Mona blew up. Angela, you know, I don't know.
She went on to do like, she was mostly like she did like a lot of soap opera stuff, like One Life to Live.
Oh yeah, see, I could see that.
And then after that, came out like Lifetime movies and stuff.
Yeah, dude, I seen her in a couple. I was like,
not without my daughter.
Angela, what the hell?
Angela. Lifetime movies.
Yeah. So I'd hate to admit it, but I used to watch all the Lifetime movies.
I would watch some too.
And you know what's gonna happen. You already know right from the first cut. You're like, okay, and they're just fantastic, horrible predictable movies.
Right? They're so predictable.
And they're so great though, because like you'll see like a Lifetime actors because they're in other Lifetime, like there's like a main Lifetime actor. You're like, oh, there's that girl again in all these Lifetime movies. You know what I mean?
And another movie about their daughter missing.
Yeah. And then there's the dude, and then there's the other dude. And you're just like
murderous husband.
They're on the Lifetime circuit, so it's like.
Lifetime just like throws a contract at them. Here's 6 Lifetime movies. You have to.
And they're like, 6. Yes, I'm gonna play the same role in every movie. And then Angela did show up in a couple. So.
Oh my God! So, also this show was produced by Budweiser.
Was it?
Not the beer, but a guy named Budweiser.
Come on!
I know. I saw it in the credits. I was like, Budweiser. I was like, are they just playing like a funny trick on the name?
And then you're like, now it makes sense.
No wonder I'm watching it.
They're trying to get us a 2-for-1. You know what I mean? Like.
So Budweiser, I looked him up. He's an actual writer and producer. He's from Rochester, New York, by the way.
Come on!
Right here in Rochester, New York.
Yes!
Yeah, we got one.
That makes
Philip Seymour Hoffman and Budweiser.
I love it.
Yes.
That is amazing.
It's great. So he wrote and produced for Growing Pains.
Another classic.
Charles in Charge. Charles in Charge.
Oh my God, dude. Wasn't that
Scott Baio?
Yes, dude.
Scott Baio.
Oh my.
All in the Family and Coach.
Coach was good.
Coach was good.
I watched
Coach.
it. Yep. Yeah. That dude. So it's funny too because like a lot of these '80s sitcom stars, they kind of, the later in the 2000s, you see them in reality shows,
Yeah.
You'd be like, Scott Baio in a reality show, and then, you see their, like, major breakdowns.
Like Hollywood Squares.
Yeah.
Center Square, Scott Baio.
Yeah! Oh, my God! Charles in Charge! He's the best! But, also, speaking of Tony Danza, he was sentenced to community service 2 days before the show debuted.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, he was kind of I don't want to say badass, but he was just a normal dude, but he was...
community service.
He was fucking...
I got community service, Mona.
Right. What do I do?
I gotta pick up garbage off the side of the street.
I gotta move to Connecticut. And let me clean houses.
That's his community service. That wasn't a paid job at all.
This is how he got his debut.
He didn't tell anybody. Like, fuck, I got community service.
Oh, shit.
I gotta clean houses in the suburbs of Connecticut.
Oh, my God. So,
that'd be an even better premise.
I mean...
Like, he's forced into doing it.
Yeah. You have to clean her house, and she's just like, oh, okay.
For nothing.
Did he get paid? Yeah, of course he got paid. Because I know that the room, he stayed there for free, but...
Well, he got hired.
And then they had corny, like, scenes where he was, like, like, vacuuming.
Oh, yeah, dude. The first episode, it was so good. He was vacuuming, and someone came to the door, someone came in, and he was vacuuming, and he lifts up the couch with one arm, and he vacuums under it to show his strength.
Because he was that tough.
Yeah.
Guy from New York.
He was vacuuming the curtains with the vacuum cleaner up on the window.
To make sure that, he was the cleaner.
Yeah. He's never kept a day of his life. Housekeeping motor.
And this show got 8 seasons.
Oh my gosh.
Because I do remember specifically.
You're like, how's he gonna clean in this episode?
So, yeah, exactly. So, during the show, there's always one, 30-second span of him actually cleaning. But it's always a different thing, like the couch or this, or he's wiping the, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. He always does something funny cleaning.
Yes, dude.
That was really funny.
To mix it in with just all that.
Yeah, just it's so crazy how they could come up with a premise for each episode.
I feel like,
what's he gonna do today?
Oh my god!
It revolved more around like the kids' lives and like
and then they had like little
and the will they won't they stuff.
And then like even back in the 80s, they had the episode of like the kids with drugs.
Oh yeah,
getting beat up, always bullied.
It was always on a very special episode. Who's the boss?
And then they like try to make the families do the same thing. Like talk to your kids.
Yeah, and then at the end, all the actresses and actors would get like next to each other, like, "Hey, drugs are bad." Okay?
Yes. So make sure that you talk to your kids because, you gotta let them know.
Yeah.
And bullying is bad.
And I know you saw us do a lot of cocaine in this episode.
Yeah.
But we were just doing that because you didn't have to.
Yes.
You don't have to.
Yes. So, and it's just, you're so right because then everyone's like, oh my God, children, come here. No, cocaine is bad.
Yeah.
Drug and it's just like, all right.
And AIDS are bad too, so don't fuck each other.
But Magic Johnson is safe. He doesn't have AIDS anymore, so it's kind of
it's
crazy.
HIV positive. It's level down.
Oh my!
So this show initially went up against the Cosby Show.
Oh, see,
which you can't run at the time. Cosby was king.
Dude,
Cosby Show is king.
And it was such a great show. Like, all around it. Cosby was king.
You got one show.
Especially in the 80s. I mean, holy fuck, dude.
Yeah, you got one show talking about Jello Porter Pop.
And they
the other one's talking about Mona and Samantha.
And even the spin-offs from Cosby, I think there was Different World or some shit.
Oh, yeah, Different World? Yeah.
And that lasted. So the Cosby was powerful.
Yeah.
And for Who's the Boss to go up against that? You know what I'm saying?
They took it down. So in November, they took it off against Cosby in November of '84. Because before Thanksgiving.
We can't compete with this.
Yeah. And they moved to 8 p.m. after the summer of '85 versus the A-Team.
Yeah.
So
A-Team, Yeah,
it's like
A-Team's cool. I mean, Mr. T.
Yeah. I think at the time, like by then, it was like, okay, A-Team had its run.
Yeah. And we did a thing on
Who's the Boss now?
Yeah, exactly. Tony Danza was like, Mr. T, I'll fuck you up.
I pit the fool. I pit the mail housekeeper. Take my show off.
We talked about the A-Team a little bit, but the only thing I remember from that show is like, we were like, damn, how did Mr. T not have like a neck injury or like
from all the
indents,
all the gold.
So you always learn something new, but it's so crazy. But speaking of Alyssa Milano, she wanted to leave the show to go to school. She was college,
Well, she was 10 years old when she was on there, so like, yeah.
So it was the 7th season into the 8th season, and they convinced her to stay.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
A little bit of money.
But it's also like, where's your future?
Well, with her,
I have a backup plan, right?
Yeah, and for her going to college is cool,
Yeah, right.
That's what you're supposed to do, and all.
I'm sure by then she would want that like dynamic of like
I don't need
college
to be
life. Yeah.
But let's be honest. Let's be realistic here.
Okay. Let's be real.
She
on a very special episode of the One Drink Podcast.
Yeah, she had offers for films.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just, and her manager was like, I can't even keep up with all this shit. You don't need to go to college.
By then she's like 17, 18.
Making a lot of money.
Yeah.
Even back then.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then she went on. I mean, dude, she did Charmed, which was huge. Mm-hmm. She did like, it wasn't 90210, but it was the other one.
Oh, like Melrose Place?
Yeah.
Was that it?
She did that for so many seasons. I mean, she's been consistently in every decade doing something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and she's just successful.
Yeah.
But college. I mean, come on, Alyssa Milano.
Dude, come on.
You're still my crush, but... Jeez.
What are you going to do?
Can we get an interview?
We call Tony Danza.
Tony! And speaking of him, I was telling Ryan before the show, I was like, I was watching Taxi.
Yeah.
And he did, it seems like Taxi took place in New York, right? I
believe so, yeah.
But it seems like he just went from he got fired from that taxi job and was like, oh, we gotta get, what
am I gonna do?
Yeah, let me move to Connecticut. It's like,
Dad, you're really good at vacuuming curtains. Yeah, you're right. You're right, Samantha. Maybe I'll be a male housekeeper.
Let's move. And it seems like it went right from Taxi to right into to Who's the Boss.
Right? It should have been that.
That's my synopsis.
Yeah. That's the show.
Oh my fucking Lord. So yeah, also, the build up to the show was, of course, does Tony like Angela? Does Angela like Tony? Yes. Back and forth. So Tony and Angela were supposed to get married halfway through the final season, but they changed their minds.
Yeah.
I'm glad they didn't.
No, you can't do that.
No, because you end the show.
It ruins the dynamic of it.
Exactly, bro. So it's like all these years, people are already thinking they're gonna get married. They're gonna get married. They're gonna get married.
Yeah.
And they're just like, oh hell no.
No.
You know what I mean?
And then they get married, and then what? The show's over.
That's it.
Yeah.
And thank God that didn't happen, and thank God they didn't have a spin-off of
right.
Tony and Angela. You know what I mean?
You're the boss.
Yeah. It just would have been the word. That would have lasted, not even a full season.
No.
People would have been like, yeah, we knew that this was going to happen, so... Turn the channel. Cosby Show. A-Team. Baywatch. That wasn't the 80s, but...
Oh, man.
Knight Rider was.
What if David Hasselhoff comes to Tony and Angela's house and he's the new male housekeeper?
With swimmies on and shit.
I hired a new housekeeper, Angela.
And instead of the van, it's the Knight Rider car.
I hired a new pool guy.
It probably would have lasted 10 seasons.
Oh my gosh, I would have been in. Kidding me? That stupid semi-truck pulls up and the dumb Knight Rider car comes out of the back and just pulls into the driveway. This is your new job, Michael.
Yeah. Clean houses.
Clean pools. This is your life, your future.
So that's the spin-off. Oh my God.
Tony and Angela.
And now
featuring David Hasselhoff.
And now I would love to see that show.
We go Three's a Crowd.
Holy
Three's Company.
fuck,
Dude.
You
can't do that. But yeah, so they didn't get married mid-season, and I guess they finished it off I don't know if it was the last episode or whatever, but it was Samantha was getting married, and Tony and Angela finally made out at the end of the episode.
Yeah, and they were like, oh!
Yeah, it was finally, yeah.
But that was the build. That was the build up from the beginning. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think they dated some people in between, and they got.
Yeah. Angela would have a lot of dates. Yeah, you'd see the jealousy and all that.
Who's he down there with?
Yeah.
Who's she hanging out with?
Angela caught Tony downstairs with Mona.
Oh yeah.
That didn't happen.
That was on the final episode.
Hey Mona.
This is when the internet started coming out.
But yeah, they finally kissed in that episode. I don't know if it was the last one.
Yeah.
I think that tied it all together.
Yeah. So, Who's the Boss? I mean, I watched it. You watched it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Over my TV tray.
Oh, yeah, dude.
With dinner and...
It was a pretty good show. And, of course, you know, for us, it was Alyssa Milano.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah. And, if you know, it had all the family issues back then that they brought up. And
yeah.
8 seasons. It's
amazing.
I still, you know...
8 years that show was alive.
Dude, and, I mean... I still crack up and laugh that the Beetlejuice show we did, where if Alyssa Milano was going to do that, you know, she rolls up to the Maitland's house in the van with Tony Danza.
We got to get these people out of the house, Samantha.
Who's the boss? Who's the boss? Who's the boss? What happens?
They gotta say, oh, hey, oh. It's so stupid.
Oh my lord. So yes, that is Who's the Boss. You got anything else?
No, that's it.
I mean,
a very small amount of notes on this one.
Fantastic show.
Yeah, it's so good.
So yes, that's Who's the Boss. If you've never watched the show, now you know after watching this that most likely you're gonna tune in.
Yeah, it's definitely a good show to watch. I think it's on like Hulu or whatever right now.
And you know, if you watch it, you could turn it into a drinking game as well. Every time Tony cleans or does a cleaning act,
or says, "Oh, hey,
yep,
oh,"
take a shot.
Yeah.
And I guarantee you probably you'll be buzzed most of the time.
Oh yeah.
After you watch it.
Yeah, it's a 23-minute show.
You're just like, holy fuck.
Ready for another episode?
Yeah.
Motors looking kind of hot right now.
In that final episode of Tony and Mona, when it hit the internet.
Tony and Mona.
Oh, God. But yeah, so that is our one drink for the show. Back to the 80s. Who's the boss?
Yeah.
So cool.
Yeah. If you happen to make it back to the 80s, let them know that One Drink Podcast sent you.
Please, you know?
Ask them who's the boss. And if they need their house cleaned.
Oh, and your curtains cleaned.
So good. I gotta go back and watch every episode and just like see,
I could just
the
see
different ways.
But with his like
clean
rolled sleeves and like his muscles, he's like.
He's got a gold chain on.
Yep, and then he's like waiting for Angela to look. He's like this. Not even looking at the curtains. And then he gets wrapped up in the thing.
Oh, hey, yo, oh, hey.
Because back then, the vacuums had that big ass bag on the back.
Oh, yeah.
It's all full and
just poof, pops into his face.
And those vacuums were heavy as fuck back then, dude.
Yeah,
like all just steel and metal. Like,
so
dude,
heavy.
Really? Come on.
He's so strong.
That's Tony Danza.
Holy smokes. Be sure to go back and check out our other episodes of Back to the 80s, where we talk about everything from Goonies, Who's the Boss, Beetlejuice, oh my god, Knight Rider, Karate Kid.
We have so much 80s stuff. It's
so much stuff.
It's fun.
Halloween in the 80s we've covered too. Go back and check out also the main show, One Drink Podcast.
Yeah.
Matt and Oliver, they cover a wide range of topics. That you wouldn't believe. You couldn't believe it. There's even a Donald Trump interview.
There is.
Interview with Donald Trump.
Amazing. And, you know, speaking of that, we have him booked for next week, hopefully, or the following week for, you know, post-election interview.
Oh boy! Oh,
He's
wow.
only
How's
giving.
that gonna go?
He's only giving us a very small window because, you know, we're not really that cool.
Yeah, I think he said a lot of that. On the,
We're gonna make
on
one.
interview.
We're gonna make One Drink Podcast cool again. Hopefully.
Or just cool.
We're trying to get to that status.
Yeah.
So yes, you can listen to us on all major platforms: iHeart, Spotify, anywhere you listen to podcasts. You can watch us on YouTube, all of our shows, everything. You'll always learn something new. You'll laugh. You'll have a good time, and just share with one friend.
Just one friend.
That's all we ask.
Yeah.
Nothing crazy. And until next time, cheers.
Bye.